Back to another episode of Seller Sessions. Again this week, week 2 of the month. We always do main image monthly. Firstly though, I'm going to address something. Obviously, people that are listening to the show and beyond that know who Dorian is, of course. And obviously Dorian's been doing a lot of experiments and building out various different tools. Now, the reason I want to address this, because I think it's important in the time we are in this industry and the way it's become tougher and tougher for sellers to meet margin and stuff. Innovations is important. And in November, I would have done 50 laps around the sun. So I'm a bit old now. And I've seen this over and over again. And where there is elements of innovation, you also have scumbags that rip stuff off as well. So just going to quickly address something which I don't normally do. I'm going to read you something. Dorian did post this on to LinkedIn a little while ago. It says, your software is good, but not great. There are dozens of people all trying to build the same thing. In fact, I know 2 people in your group that have told me they are trying to simply learn how your software works, rip you off and push you out. Now, the rip-off bit's been done and it's costing 10x more. But Dorian's not going anywhere. So I'm just sending you a message back that Dorian's not going anywhere. What I've learned about things like this is the people that rip people off and copy have no ideas. So they have to rely on people like Dorian who push the needle and innovate. So this is a message also to sellers, because I know sellers complain. They'll say in quotes that, rip off Chinese knockoffs and stuff like that. But this is for the same for main images. And this is the same for this gentleman who rips off Dorian software. Now, I did do a bit of a breakdown on this. And when you do the comparison, it's literally feature for feature. We've got the screen grab there. And, you look at their website, X thousands of sellers not paying that kind of money. I'm telling you that now. I know sellers. I've been in this game 10 years. All bullshit. So just be aware of stuff like this. And the reason I want to address it is because I want those people out there that are pushing the needle to encourage you to carry on, right? Because this is going to be part of it. I've been ripped off from me, Awana, Andrew Bell. I mean, if we look at the Rufus article, that got ripped off numerous times. There was about 15 that didn't credit. And then we've got the King of Clown World. He's done 2 subliminal shot videos at us, and we've not addressed it. One day this is all going to get addressed. And so if you keep poking the bear, you're going to get information coming back your way. And what often I've found is with people like that, which is more predatory kind of behavior, is that they run off and play the victim. And I've had it with Seller Sessions, with pouncing off my brand. But again, go back to my point, is if you're out there and you're trying to do something that is different and you're trying to push the needle, just understand, just keep going. You're always going to get scumbags. So that's been addressed. Today, we're going to be covering a brand of a lady, Nafisha, a good friend of mine, based over in Canada. She'll join us in a little while on the show. The boys have been working hard on doing some optimization. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Sim.
Yeah, hi Danny. Look, I'll quickly jump in on what you've just mentioned, but I'm in that AI club. I can see the questions being asked and who they come from, and they're just asking Dorian little questions. How did you do this? What about this? And then they're ripping it off for themselves. It's just bang out of order, frankly. But anyway, so yeah, back to Main Image Monthly. Today we are doing a language flashcard, like English to Spanish flashcard brand. Essentially, it's a product. I think there's 300 flashcards in the pack. Something we've not really done before. We've done a board game before, but yeah, keen to see what the guys come up with here. We've had some really interesting feedback from last week from Soundblock. It looks like they've had a 70% uplift in sales. I mean, that's on a main image change. From what you can tell, there's been no other changes. I mean, these are the kind of this is why this podcast exists and why we started it in the first place, because there's no other thing in the Amazon game that you can pull the lever of and it have these kind of results so quickly. So really happy to see that last week, but really happy to see that. And then just to reiterate a few other successes that we've had on this podcast already, we had the knee pillow. I forget the brand's name. Sport Medica, right? Sport Medica. Yeah, that's right. It was, and we're seeing like crazy results on that one too. So we've had feedback from the brand. We've had CTRs increase from, it's gone up 17%, conversion rate up 14%, revenue per month almost up $20,000 a month. I mean, these are crazy results. I think that was actually the Canadian marketplace, right? No, that's the UK. That's the UK. So I mean, these are phenomenal results that we're seeing, and again, most of this pretty much is down to the main image. So really excited to see what the guys have come up with this week, and I think the brand owner Nafisha's joining us later. So yeah.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, no, she's just getting ready now because she's got a 7-hour time difference. But yeah, she'll be joining the show. So yeah, what we're doing next, Sim, we're going to get into it.
Yeah, no. If the guys are ready, let's do it.
Okay, cool. You're up first, Dorian, right?
Let Matt start, I guess.
Yeah,
research.
I'll grab the grab it right here. Okay. Yeah, so like always, we start with our main image playbook, and the first step of that is kind of getting qualitative feedback. So just hearing, watch people shop the category and basically hearing what they say as they answer questions out loud. So what we did was we actually got some of the competitors of the product and asked people like, which one would you choose? Click into it. What do you like? What do you not like? And get that context, right? So actually, let's go ahead and play that one. And let me see. Actually, I have to reshare. Give me 1 sec, because I want the audio to work. Flashcards. Okay, so this should work. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound.
I like this one as well. Again, it's colorful. I can see the content of the cards. It just looks fun and it makes me want to study.
So far, this is number one.
I think this one's a little confusing as far as trying to tell you the different variations of words. It would be more helpful if it included sentences on how to use the different variations.
So again, we can see the content of the cards. This one seems to be a bit more in depth. It has the conjugation table here. 500 cards in 10 packs.
I was drawn to this. It seems substantial.
I'm going to click into this one just because I like the box. The little Mexican box with the cactuses and the sombreros.
I think the design of this is terrific so far, but what I don't like is it's just for children, although it seems like it's adult oriented. That's so weird that it's adult oriented, but it says it's for kids in grade school. Like, that's so weird that it's adult.
It doesn't really show me the cards as well.
They don't really show the cards as much here, only at the end. I think you should put a couple more pictures of the cards because that's the main thing that you're getting.
This doesn't seem so impressive. I don't know why. It seems like Trivial Pursuit, like a game.
There's so many on this page, but this image is a little dull looking.
I just find that it's just too corporate. It doesn't impress me. Oh, it's just 100. I'm not impressed with 100 cards. And it seems very basic. It's more beginner. Yeah, this doesn't interest me.
First image is colorful. I like that I can see the content of the flashcards.
And the real Crayola feel to it. But I do like the cards here.
This is number 2. I'm going to take a look at this one here. It almost looks like Crayola crayons. I don't like that, but there's 600.
The rest of this maybe get some real people to take the pictures.
So I probably wouldn't buy that just because it's a lower vocabulary count as all the others.
But this one on the far right, again, very colorful. You can see the content of the cards, which I like. And let's roll down.
I thought the pictures on this set looked interesting. Might as well have some. They're just category pictures again.
So I like how on this one, it's got the words and like a picture of the word, and then on the back of it tells you how to pronounce it.
This one here also caught my attention because of the full bleed images, but it looks like it's double-sided in a similar way as this first one that I was looking at. Like the really colorful imagery on these cards here, like real photos, the word and the image association better than a representation of the thing. So like a real baby photo.
Oh, look at audio files. Oh, definitely. I think audio files would be great because it's one thing to look at the flashcards, it's another thing to have audio files to help you pronounce it correctly.
Also, thing I'm seeing is if this has like an app or something where you can hear the pronunciations, they should definitely highlight that in one of the pictures. It is important to know what kind of extras you get if they come with, like we saw one came with just audio, like pronunciations built into the card, but then some had the audio book and the pronunciations.
So I like that this one has audio files, a pronunciation guide. So I would say this is my favorite one since it emphasizes the audio aspect.
Need to know at least that, like, it would give you how to pronounce these. It would be helpful to hear it, actually hear somebody pronouncing it, like an audio of how to pronounce these.
Oh, and it comes with audio.
Just I like the quantity being higher of the cards. There's more to learn.
I would want to know what level these are at in terms of, are they ideal for people who are literally just learning their first words in Spanish, perhaps with like verbs and conjugations and the like.
I want to know, are the cards divided into more advanced, like when you do Duolingo, you have beginners, intermediate, and I think a lot of learning tools are like that.
What kind of topics they cover, because some will be for like beginners or intermediate and expert, or some might have like themes of what they cover, like foods in Spanish, or
Not everybody's going to know all of these 720 or 600 or maybe even 300 words, so it needs to be broken down somehow into what is appropriate for the learner.
What I like about this is that these flashcards are on a key ring, so they're not going to get lost or somewhere, and they're kept all together.
But I saw the key ring at the top of this page, so it looks like it's trying to sell me different versions of the same product down below.
Having the cards on your key ring lets you take them with you to work, the bus stop, wherever. The key ring is probably unique and something that would set this apart. 500 cards.
It looks like it has one of those rings, and you can just see all the cards on it. The card stock, reverse side, curved edges, and then key ring. The key ring is solid, so that one's good. It's definitely one that I would click on.
And then definitely this one in the lower right because it has verb conjugation, nouns, adjectives, and phrases. So that looks very good especially for beginners. So I'll click into this.
I'm just going to click on this one because I like how it says that it's for adults and kids, but it specifies verb conjugation, nouns, adjectives, and phrases.
Verb conjugation. I think this would be very helpful, very thorough. I guess what the goal is, what the age range is for the person that needs them.
Probably be nice if they're more specific. Instead of 500 plus, you could tell me exactly how many.
One thing that I would change would be to make this fill in the blank section. It should be possibly dry erase or something like that, so that you're not just one and done. Not sure how useful it is to learn the names of insects.
You need to unmute your mic, Matt.
There we go. Yeah, so I know we went a little bit more into depth with that one, but yeah, it was interesting feedback. I think my favorite was the lady that was like, "Oh, audio files!" Like she got super excited about that, and that was one of the trends that that we saw. So just to kind of sum up some of the bigger points. A lot of people notice the key ring as the differentiator. That I think is key, no pun intended. A lot of people actually went specifically to the title and said like, oh, I really like that it mentions the verb conjugation, nouns, adjectives, that sort of thing. And it just stands out because it's more colorful than some of the other ones. But then it looked like there was a few opportunities, right? So if the keyring stood out, can we actually make that like even stand out more and maybe even make that part of the title, for example? A lot of people were worried about how, like, can I learn how to pronunciate things? And the cards do have that, but it didn't really come out in the main image. And with that, can we also include some sort of audio thing or app or something that can help with that? Is it beginner friendly? Age concerns. So in our case, we're trying to cater to both markets, like an adult, also mentions children. Maybe there's also a teen market that could be segmented out. Already mentioned the audio. And even though it seems like this deck was kind of, it's more marketed for adults, it has a very bubbly design. So is there an opportunity there to maybe segment out, maybe make a different version for kids than a different version for adults? Because for example, in that purple packaged one where it was just kind of like adults only, people were kind of saying that they appreciated they trusted it more because it looked more sleek and more like something that an adult would use versus that bubbly kind of childlike design. So with that, we also wanted to take the baseline search simulation. So this is just basically taking the existing main image and then throwing it into a poll with the competitors. And I think this is the first time in Main Image Monthly, where the ASIN that we were working with actually got picked the most, right? So this is our ASIN at the top, with a pretty okay statistical significance as well. So it's like, okay, it's good because it seems to be doing well, and this also follows the Amazon data as well too, where our ASIN's one of the better sellers in the particular category. And then from this, there's also qualitative data as well too. So some of these we found also in the videos. Maybe it makes sense to have an adult version, more professional. That's what a lot of people were saying about this purple one. Include audio files, like we heard that lady got super excited over audio files being included for pronunciation. Some other people also mentioned that they really liked the cards that had the actual photograph. So instead of just like the kind of cartoon drawing, actually have a full photo, and that was interesting as well. Then it comes down to taking that feedback and trying to create some concepts that hopefully do even better than our baseline main image. So this was the original main image, and then this was one of the concepts. Dorian, if you want to talk about the concept and how that it came to be.
Yeah. So what we like to do is initially get a lot of data, and I'll talk about this. But first of all, it's a funny coincidence that we are talking about Spanish vocabulary, because I just moved to Spain and I'm learning Spanish using Duolingo for now. So yeah, definitely a funny coincidence. Okay, let's jump into it. So obviously, initially we use ProductPinion for gathering a lot of the data. The more data you have, really, the better, the more ideas you have, and you'll be able to execute images that truly speak to your customers, right? The worst thing we can do is just try to come up with something nice, and something that doesn't really communicate, to the target audience, and doesn't really communicate the purchase barriers and purchase motivation. So we want to uncover all of those initially. We do that from ProductPinion. On our side also, we use, let me share my window. We also run some analysis as well. So as you can see, we were looking at
it's showing your it's infinity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Share screen window. Okay. Now?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously we're looking at a lot of data points, and so we had ProductPinion data, and we're looking at things like Rufus data. So what people are asking about, are these cards good for beginners, durable, do they include audio pronunciation? So are there any type of purchase behaviors and purchase blockers that we can address in the main image? Obviously things like purchase barriers, top customer questions. So a lot of data points. Some key patterns, age targeting, confusion, that comes from Rufus, that comes from reviews, but that also comes from ProductPinion tests, right? So we can see if that data repeats itself in all those from all those sources. It's definitely something that we could potentially address, and there's a lot of things that we can start collecting and look at the frequency of those mentions, whether this is from reviews, whether this is from Rufus, whether this is from ProductPinion tests. And what you want to do is get as much of that data and then start coming up with ideas. So what we did is we collected all this data from Matt and ourselves. Obviously did a quick, generated some ideas using AI. We use AI mostly, as you guys know from previous episode, just to come up with as many crazy ideas as possible. We want to get as much, as many as we can, because there's something in one of those, if every single image, there's something that we can potentially pick up, that we could potentially test, and all of this is then compiled. So what we did next is, let me share another window. We picked some interesting compositions, and we had the first run at some initial mock-ups, and obviously the more you test, the more of those ideas that you test on ProductPinion, the closer you'll get to that statistical significance and increase click-through rate. So that was pretty much the standard process. A lot of research, a lot of data points, a lot of ideas, and those were then compiled, looked at the frequency and passed on to the designer saying, okay, these are the 3, 4, 5 points that we have to address in the main image. And this is how we came up with those initial 3 images that Matt will talk about in a moment that we wanted to test first.
Cool. Let me grab the screen back. Okay. So yeah, this was one of the concepts that we wanted to test. So it's showing the card up close, just kind of, and also kind of emphasizing the keyring as well. And then this was another concept that kind of showed more of the stacks of cards, right? To kind of give an idea of what you're actually getting and just how many there are, because there were a lot of comments about quantity as well. Like some of the other competitors have less. So it's like, hey, can we really emphasize that we have more? And with that being said, between these two, I want to ask, which one do you think won in the concept test? So we have A versus B.
I'll go B to start with. I think it looks more like the pack of cards look a bit denser. So while it says 500, you're seeing like quite a dense pack of cards there. So, yeah, that's my guess.
Okay, we have a B.
I'm going to go for B. Nafisha, what do you think? Your microphone, I'll do it for you now. One sec. There you go. What are you thinking, A or B?
I'd probably say B too.
Okay.
We're rarely right on this, by the way. Like we barely ever get this right. So.
No?
But, so yeah, sometimes it's always the other way, right? But and drum roll, please. Dun-dun-dun-dun. So yeah, it was concept B in this case won the concept test, and actually by a pretty decent margin. So I mean, it was relatively close, but 83%. If we ran it again, we would get the same result. So cool. So now we have a winning concept, and the next step. Oh, and just before that, why did it win? So a lot of comments were related to, just seeing the several stacks of flashcards. It just kind of represents like you're getting more, right? So people always want more. If you give them more, they're happier. Much more pronounced. There's more to the product. Yeah, and also just they noticed the clip on it as on that one as well. So this was the losing concept, although some people did point out that they really did appreciate seeing the card enlarged, because obviously on Amazon, unless you kind of like zoom in, it's kind of hard to see what's exactly on the cards. So for those that are like, yeah, I did appreciate seeing the large, the big card to see and read and kind of understand how it's used. Okay, so now we have a new concept. The idea here is we take that baseline, which we already won, but let's see if we can win by a bigger margin, right? Because who doesn't like winning with more? So we run that another Pinion poll, exact same test. We exclude the people that saw the first test. That's really important because they're biased. We don't want biased people taking our new test. And the only change we make is swapping out the new winner. The new concept that had won. So this was the winner, so let's throw it in there. And then the results were this. So it still won. Did it win by a significantly higher margin? Not necessarily, but hey, part of testing is we'll take the incremental gains. And obviously with this, we're testing with like a group of like a specific group of competitors, on Amazon, it actually might be a much bigger win as well, because there's other competitors that people would be exposed to. So if you compare the results from the original baseline, 78% statistical significance, we did up it to 88. So all that means is that our confidence that we have an image that beats the competitors is higher. So we're in the right direction, and I like it in terms of a result. But could we beat it more? Maybe, right? Could we actually get more click share? Because we always want more. We always want to do the best that we can squeeze any little bit through of the numbers that we can get. So to summarize those results, we got slightly higher click share, like very, very little, but the statistical significance did go up as well. So then we thought, hey, can we do some more testing? Can we come up with another concept that would hopefully move the needle even further? And then this was so we came up with some new concepts to try to outwin the original concept that we did. Dorian, did you want to mention with these newer concepts?
Yeah, two things. One, obviously, you see a little bit more keywords in there, beginner friendly. So that was one of the things that customers were interested in, to see whether this is beginner friendly. Obviously, slightly different composition, and there was a lot of data points that Matt sent from those tests. The other interesting thing about this main image is we actually haven't. The funny thing is, you don't need a photographer, you don't need a fancy studio to do these images, these type of images. This was simply done by getting the files, the design files, and a little bit of AI and a little bit of obviously Photoshop. So this just tells you how quickly you can come up with multiple ideas, even these days, even without doing a proper photo shoot. So these are pretty fairly easy to do in terms of execution. So you can come up with as many ideas as possible, during a single day. And yeah, in terms of those concepts, you can see you can definitely see way more text on it. The 500, the 5 stars beginner friendly, and a lot of other things that we got from the ProductPinion tests. And the goal here is really just to keep pushing, keep trying, and seeing what is it that truly gets those clicks and gets the customer's attention.
Totally, yeah. And so we did do a couple rounds of more concept testing. So for example, we put these two head to head. So concept C versus concept D. Does anyone want to guess which one won through these two? When we went head to head, we just basically asked shoppers which one stands out to you the most.
I'll go with concept D.
I'm gonna
I'd
D.
say
I think
D.
the 500 is a bit clearer. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
to
I'd say
make
D.
just to make you aware that the word beginner is misspelled, so that would it's not ideal on a flashcard thing, but obviously that's not matter, because they're both misspelled, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'd go D.
And I think someone in one of the comments mentioned that too in ProductPinion. They're like, "Oh, it's misspelled," but by that point, we're like, we're just testing.
We wouldn't like that on the final listing.
Yeah. Cool. So we have a consensus on concept D. You guys are on the money. With this one, really high statistical significance. So just again means 96% of the time, if we ran this test again, concept D would win as well. So concept D was the winner. And then we had another concept, this one, concept E, which was based on, I think, a previous concept, but then I think we massaged some things with it too, right?
Yes. This is a very interesting product as well, because there's so much going on, right? There's so many moving parts. um, so many items included, and there's so many things you want to communicate. So the amount of potential ideas here is really unlimited. And one thing that we'll find out probably from this episode today is that you can never stop testing, because there's always something that you'll uncover in the next test. So what we do is pretty much just, keep reading the data, keep iterating, and already this was already a bestseller. This already had a really good main image, so definitely a big challenge for us. And I was throwing main images at Matt to test as many as possible. So it's a lot of moving parts, but what we're looking for is really to uncovering those frequent things that customer mentioned. So yeah, always something that we can try something else. So that's how the concept E was born.
Cool. And I'll ask you guys the same question again. So these two concepts now going head to head, concept D with the stacks, concept E with the up close card deck, so it's easier to read. I'm kind of being a little leading on this one, but which one do you think won versus these two? So concept D versus E.
I'll go with the one that says winner underneath, because I'm guessing that won. Or
Sorry,
you're talking about the winner of the previous.
That was the previous winner. Yeah. So previous winner
I'm gonna
versus
put
a
my
new
neck out
concept.
and go with concept E to be wrong.
I'm going with E. I much prefer E.
I do.
This is the most clear cut I think I've been since the start, funnily enough. So I'm hoping I'm right here. But
Nafisha, what do you think?
Oh, we've already tested so many, but I think showing more variety like D has worked out better in general. So I'm gonna have to stay with the winner.
Right on. Okay, let's see. Drum roll, please. Whoops, where did that?
Unless that was a
Oh,
trick.
wait, are you changing?
No, I'll stay with it.
You'll stay with it? Okay. So winner was, Nafisha was right on the money. It still beat out the other one. And again, actually pretty high statistical significance on it as well. So so I mean, again, you never know until you actually throw some numbers behind it. So this was the winner. And then again, what we wanted to do is throw this concept into our baseline and just see if we can increase our click share more. We can kind of see what happens when we throw this in here. And we throw it in. And interestingly enough, we still won. So the consistency of the data is great, but we didn't win any extra click share from it based on these, cherry-picked competitors. But we got an ever so slightly statistical significance bump as well too. So all of these are kind of like moving in the right direction. But what I wanted to also mention as well is like the opportunities that kind of came from just from when we did the video testing, the qualitative data, like. I'd love to know, and I'm sure Nafisha had already thought of some of these as well, but I'd love to kind of chat about like, are there other things we could do to push the brand? Can we actually push it further to see if we can actually win even more? And then just some of the things we just to reiterate, some of the things we talked about in the video was just showing off that keyring, because that seemed to be like a thing that all shoppers kind of noticed. Oh yeah, this one has the key rings. I want that one. It makes it more portable. Audio came up quite a bit. So can we put a audio MP3 bonus or something that could help with that? Even though the design, for example, says for adults and kids, it was very like bubbly kind of kids oriented design. So does it make sense to split the product into one specifically for adults, one specifically for kids, which might help also like with Rufus, if someone's like, hey, I need, flashcards for kids, then you can go all in on that kind of group of keywords. But yeah, those were some of the ideas that kind of came up directly from shoppers.
Can I ask a qualifying question beforehand? What was your end goal in the feature when you launched this product, right? You've got an idea of how you want it to sit in the market, and then the market speaks. But so that we can learn from that, because I think we're doing this in 2 parts anyway, is having a little bit more intelligence behind it as the brand owner. What are some of the key things that, one, you wanted to get across, and two, since the product's been launched, what have you learned from the feedback that we wouldn't have access to?
I think, yeah, we are selling more towards the adult audience. Originally, I had created it to be versatile to fit both audiences, but recently our new designs have been more adult friendly, and I'm taking away a lot of the kid functions out of it. It's hard because I wanted the customer to have more than the other brands are producing. And so it's really hard to showcase all of what the product has to offer. That's why you're like, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do because it's so comprehensive that what I've tried to do in this product alone is create a lesson plan. Whereas the other brands, they're just creating vocabularies that, you learn. But I'm creating a lesson plan. So it's been really hard to showcase a lesson via one photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it is going towards more adult audience. I'm trying to separate, like Matt said, I'm trying to separate kids from adults in the long run.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Obviously, I think that's the biggest thing for me that I want to find out from you is looking even at the research and looking at similar products. I can see that the primary customer usually of this type of products is actually someone slightly older. Right, so they want to master Spanish, they want, also family bonding, practical learning, and the kind of the emotions that we're going to target is confidence, achievement, connection, and when it comes to the audience 15, 18, and 25, 34, they're kind of like the secondary customer segment. This data is probably, I would say, 70 to 80% accurate. But it was something that was obviously coming up in the ProductPinion tests as well. So here's some idea and some questions for everyone. I think for the next round of tests, I would like to try to see if we can potentially see if making this main image slightly more focused on that audience could potentially help, right? And that, and then long term, as you said, Nafisha, is separating those two, because then it's so clear when looking for flashcards that whether they're made for kids or adults. Like you weren't on the beginning of the call, but I mentioned that literally last week I moved to Spain, and I'm learning Spanish myself. So those cards would probably be useful for me right now. But yeah, there's one thing is definitely the type of the kind of designs and branding you went for. It definitely feels more towards the younger audience, but it's just a question whether they are truly buying your product, right? So it's just whether we're missing some sort of a connection here in terms of the audience. And I think if we are able to understand that and be able to connect those two dots, we'll come up with much better main images in the next round.
Do you know what comes of main image testing a lot of the time? This happened in Silicon Food Bags right at the start of when we did this podcast. Is when you're testing them, you end up finding product development ideas, and I think these ProductPinion videos are just so powerful for that. Like every time we've done it, there's been something good that's come out of it, and I don't think people use them enough. I know that we probably don't, but just some ones here, right? So the audio app would take a developer a week to do. I mean, genuinely take a week, wouldn't cost that much. Then you basically have an extra $5 to $10 perceived value on your product every time it sells. It's crazy ROI, I think, in terms of that. I think you could have 3 different variations of difficulty, and then you can sort of upsell as they go along. So you have a beginner's version, and the keyring might be like a little sombrero or something, so it stands out. Again, cost peanuts, and it would be a nice little value add, and the kids would like it. Then you have like an intermediate one, and then a more, whatever the top, the hardest version will be, when they can buy them in progression. You'd have like a kids versus adults one where you could play as a family, or test each other out as a family. But yeah, I think there's loads. I mean, you crushed it with the brand. I think it's great. I think you know, must be doing well. The margins must be great on that. I think I really like the design actually of the brand that went with like the sombrero like theme. I think they selected actually what the cards were doing, but that really stood out. So yeah, maybe you could brand up the kids one a bit differently if you did it. But yeah, I think great job. And yeah, if you want to take the brand to the next level, I think there's loads of ways you could do that.
I also want to back up what Tim said, like with the video feedback. If you think about the logic behind it, you do 10 videos, 4 minutes each, 40 minutes of gold. Now, it does take time to go through it, but you find so much more value, even if they're only 10 videos. And I know that's a small significance in terms of capture, but you're not necessarily looking for the significance thing of volume of people. What you're looking for is lots of things that you've missed. That's why I think the video are important and a good bang for the buck. The other thing as well, I think with Nafisha as well, she is the face of her brand. If you look at the socials, and she does very good socials, right? In terms of structured videos, some of them will have like a theme behind them, right? So they're almost like laid out and planned as a short, not a short movie, but there's effort gone in, you know, like with a lot of content it is generated. It's not always easy for Amazon brands to wear all these different hats and produce really good videos, right? And they rely a lot more on influencers, which is still good. But she does a very good job there in terms of integrating into the brand. She's got a likable character as well, so she comes off well. And I do think that plays a role in part of her success.
And I didn't realize you were a fellow Canadian too.
No, thank you, Danny.
You're welcome. So just while we're on the call, your designer's here. Maybe we could get a few words from him, from what he sees, you know, his vision when he's designing, what his goals are, because that will help the guys as well for the next round. So let's bring him in now. Is he on camera or is just audio? Galeb, you there? I'm putting you on the spot now. Yep. Come on.
Hi.
How are we doing? Do you want to turn yourself up a little bit on the mic?
What?
This is Galeb, guys. He's my designer. We've been working together for like almost 3 years now. And so he's behind a lot of the images people see, actually.
Yeah. So just turn your mic up a little bit, Galeb, and just give us your thoughts on some of the design work and what you see for the brand, right? Because as a designer, you're going to have a vision to the way that you want to design stuff and what you want to get over. And again, that will help the guys here for their optimizations. What are the 3 key things you want to get across with the brand?
Actually, I can get your voice or something like that.
Okay, no worries. So if you just want to listen in, that's absolutely fine. Nafisha will get us some information after the show. I have put you on the spot. So
that's okay.
Nafisha, what you've made of it so far before I hand it back to the guys?
What have I made of it?
What you've seen, well, what we've been laying out at the moment. Do you like the way that it's going?
It's completely different concept. Sorry, Danny, I cut you off. But yeah, it's definitely different than what I would have ever thought about. I've always thought, okay, the box has to be in the video, in the image, because that's what everybody's doing. And I think I need to start coming out of the box myself and start thinking differently, because I'm like, okay, well, these are the rules. These are what other people are doing. So maybe that's what we need to do. But I can see that you guys did completely different. And so that's gonna work, right? Like, I mean, I was under the impression we couldn't have words on the screen.
Words on the screen.
Like, you can't type on the actual image. It has to be written on the box to showcase your product. If
And
you
I
want
think,
to showcase more than just
yeah, I think we just modified the box to make it look like
okay.
that text is on the box.
Yeah.
So you're right.
I
Yeah, you
see.
can't just put random text here or there that'll probably get
Yeah.
flagged. But
Yeah.
we took the artistic liberties of updating the box to make it
Right.
have the text, and that's okay. Like if a customer gets the box and it's
Okay.
slightly different than the main image, usually that's not a big concern. But the click-through rate you
Okay.
get by doing that can be massive.
Okay. So now that I've been unleashed, I can use literally, because we're gonna take your designs. We have like the sickest system that we use for our designs to make all of that electronically, but like so realistic. I know, I think you guys saw my first image. I don't know. The current image that's online. But yeah, like I can take your model that you guys made, your format, and just make it so much better. Which is nice, but
yeah,
with my flair in it.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, no, that's cool.
What I'm going to hand over to the boys. How do you want to wrap this up? Because we're going to obviously take it a step further for the next show. So how do you want to
I have a
summarize
question. Like, if you were to, let's say now, obviously your creative imagination has been unleashed. If there's anything possible in the main image and anything that you could potentially add and communicate, and also what you already saw, what would you do?
I think that what you're showcasing is great. It looks like all the information is there. I'm trying to think back here. The information is there. It's very clean. The only thing we would do is just slight little changes in making the actual cars look less digital, because it just looks like we just kind of copy and paste it. But otherwise, I think it's showcasing the product, like it's showcasing every category that we have. It's still clean. Yeah. And I like that you guys showcase like the double-sided cards on that concept D, because I never thought we could do that without it looking weird. But in our image, we have like the hand. Did you think about that when you were creating? Or did any information come up on that? Does that help?
Was that mentioned in the product opinion test?
I don't. Like in the original image, there was a hand in it. Oh, this one, right?
Yeah. I was thinking, does that help with visualization of like how well it fits and how it should be used?
That's a really good point too. Yeah, in general, yeah. Like a lot of people will. We have a lot of case studies where, like, yeah, putting human elements in there, people notice it. This didn't come up though, actually, from at least the videos. I'd have to go through all the poll results specifically to see if anyone mentioned the hand. But yeah, no, to be honest, that's actually really interesting. It didn't come up as something that people were like, oh, I love that it's, I can get an idea of how the size from it. But what did come up all the time was the key ring. And then maybe this also, people are thinking not necessarily the hand, but it's like, hey, I love that it's on the key ring. So that's an interesting aspect to it too.
I ran it through Dorian's tool earlier, and it did come up in there. So a lot of the generations I was getting included the hand. Yeah, we can include that maybe in the next podcast if we iterate further.
Yeah. So what we'll do now is take on board obviously all the comments from Nafisha and everything that we discussed on this call, and I have some my crazy ideas also, and I hope on the next call we'll be able to break through the barrier. It's definitely a tricky main image, simply for two reasons. One, you've already done a good job, And number two is it's just such a complex product. There's a lot of moving elements.
It is.
So
Yeah.
the possibilities are endless here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's hard about making a main image for this particular product. I sent you guys also like the toddler one I have, this one, and I thought maybe you guys were gonna pick that one because that would have been your easiest one, but you guys picked the hardest one in the set. So I was like, oh, okay, all right then.
We need a challenge.
Good
Like
luck.
That might be
Go
my
on for
fault.
punishment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks that was a punishment because you guys, this is my bestseller one, but it's also like the hardest one to make any image for. So kudos to you.
I agree. It definitely was a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. And it's one of those itches that you have to scratch. I need to see that product opinion. And next time, I just need to see that product opinion where it's just 90% statistical significance, double click-through rate. And that's the goal. That's usually the goal. Sometimes it takes, obviously, multiple iterations. And in this particular case, it probably will. But, it's a fun challenge.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys chose this one for me because I have run like my second one and I think my fourth one with ProductPinion.
Oh, cool.
But I never really thought to run this one because I was like, it's my bestseller, whatever, right? And I just was like, whatever. So it actually, I guess it reminds me like, regardless if it's bestseller or not, you need to still run them all equally to get better results.
You should run them more.
So,
They're the ones
like-
with the highest leverage. Like the smallest difference can make the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
like,
sometimes you just get what's that?
Sorry, no, go ahead.
I was saying sometimes you just get so comfortable and like okay with the results you receive that you submit. You just don't bother
Don't question
anymore.
it. Yeah, you don't question
Yeah.
it. And imagine getting 10 extra, 15 extra % sales from a single
sure.
image. Like, wouldn't that be amazing?
And I would think that I should have ran this one knowing that this is already selling. Why not sell better?
It'll
Yeah.
make the biggest impact on your revenue. Yeah.
I want to add something here. A lot of times, so obviously we run a conversion and click-through agency as well. So I get this question all the time. Sellers come to me and ask me, what should we work on? Should we on the product that's not doing well? Like, should we try to improve it? And I always have one answer. Let's go for the one with the highest amount of sessions and high amount of sales.
Yeah.
Because imagine changing that, giving that 10-20% boost to that single ASIN. Imagine the ROI on that. Let's just go for the low-hanging fruits. It could be challenging because they're usually best sellers, but the ROI on those products is usually the highest. And what we've seen so far are some incredible transformations where, last year we had one product that went from, I think, $1 to $2 million with just simple content, improvement, which took up, I think, 4 to 5 months. But, it's just content. And they were already bestsellers. And I said to them, let's just try to optimize those.
Yeah. I think a lot of sellers, including myself, were like, okay, don't break it. It's not broken, like, or like, leave it, it's working. But we have to take...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah? No,
That's
we
the
just take...
That's the process, because you see the process we're introducing here with Matt. Everything's being tested, everything's being questioned, and obviously the last part is running it through managed experiments. So we have to validate the ideas all based on data, and it's this process that you can't really break you can't bestseller. You run an experiment on Amazon, it says it's not doing well, we just leave the old one, and you keep trying until you.
The upside is unlimited and the downside is very little. And I do think with the results we got here, like if we threw that winning one on the listing live, put it in an Amazon manager, I think you would actually get some incremental conversions on it. But I'd love to see if we could do more. And maybe if Nafisha, if you guys can come up with a concept too, and then we could do like brand owner concept versus Dorian concept and make that go head to head. And see if we can do that.
Accepted.
Whoa, there we go.
I'll take that challenge.
You're making it more fun, Matt.
I'll do it.
That's awesome.
That one wasn't discussed backstage, but I love it.
We could do challenges. Let's see.
That's good.
But I'm glad that you guys did that because that's giving me more confidence to like break the cycle, you know. Sometimes you get so scared. But yeah, I guess you have to take chances, right?
Well, the thing is, you're quite new to optimization in this sense. I'm not talking about optimization of your listings, like creating listings, etc. But
yeah,
when you said earlier on about you wouldn't have thought of touching your main product, I would agree with you. You shouldn't until you've got to a certain level where you're comfortable with testing, because it can go the other way if you don't know how to handle it. You could derail a big selling product. But obviously Dorian's been doing this since 2013, 2014, 2015 at the highest level. So of course he wants to go after these, and he's confident with that because he's done over 1,000 optimizations through his agency. So he's got extensive experience. But it is good if you're new to testing, do the low hanging fruit, do the ones that are not converting, right? Because anything above 0 is a win. So it's hard to fuck it up. Does that make sense? So but carry on testing. Be good to see what your designer comes up with. I'd like to think Dorian will not get upstaged by your designer, and we're going to embarrass him live on air. No pressure, Dorian.
No pressure.
No, it's all in a bit of fun. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins, you win. Does that make sense? The whole point is whoever gets the best outcome, and that's the end greater goal.
Yeah, we're not going to change your concept. The concept's going to stay the same because it's tested. We're going to tweak it to make it more realistic imagery, but I think the concept itself shows that it's working, right?
Yeah. Maybe we can have you tested it on managed experiments, one of those concepts.
Actually
ahead of next call, so we get some obviously Amazon data as well that will give us some insight.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to actually do that. I'm going to tweak it, and then I'm going to throw it into the experiment and tell you the results. You're going to love it. Let's see.
Cool. All right, I'm going to wrap here. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Moral of the story, don't imitate, innovate. If you want to survive on Amazon and you want to do well, you're going to stand out by pushing the needle and doing things in the right way. So without further ado, I'd like to say big thank you for Nafisha. I had to get her out of bed, right? Get her in the shower. Get your makeup on, girl, I said to her.
Yeah, I was like, what?
No, so she's joined us today, but it'd be good to get some feedback from your designer as well. I know that his English maybe not as good for being on the show, but we'll get some feedback there. Dorian, again, thank you for your time. Matt, again. Sim, any last words before we go?
No, I guess we'll carry this one on into the next episode, and we'll get a fresh one as well to maybe start the proceedings on that in the next episode as well. So again, guys smashed it again today. I thought that slideshow was going to end about halfway along, and it just kept going. So brilliant as always, guys.
Cool. All right,
Thank you guys for working on it.
Take care of yourself and your family. Much love, and I'll be here again next week.
Adios.